Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. My mother regularly tell me to spend 1k and plus on plane tickets for her but doesn't believe I have the right to buy myself a donut. My mom is Pakistani. She regularly complains that I've never bought her tickets to go visit Pakistan, even though I did already in 2020 before COVID, and is constantly telling me how I have to buy them for her when they cost between $1,400 to $1,600, but also gets angry/upset with me when I spend $4.50 on a large strawberry lemonade from Wendy's or spend $3.80 buying myself 2 donuts. Story 2. Mom won't leave. So my mom moved in with me back in March of this year because we agreed that I needed financial support to help me with paying my rent. I have gotten a good paying job and pay all of my bills and rent on time and on my own now and really would like my mom to move out. Every time I bring this up she says she's getting anxious, cries or gets a bad attitude. I feel so cramped in this one-bedroom apartment and I don't know how to express to her that I would like her to leave without having to walk on eggshells until she leaves. I don't know how or when this would happen though. She doesn't have a job or transportation, so I'm having trouble seeing how she could even be able to move anytime soon. If anyone has any tips or suggestions to help me with this, please do. I am drowning here. Story 3. My mother thinks she's more entitled of feelings that I am. Hello, I'm a 22F, and a middle child. I recently got upset with my parents because they wouldn't let me choose my career path, which is really frustrating. And after my father talked down to me for not wanting the job they chose for me, my mother called me to know the details and she kept telling me if I didn't obey them I'll end up with no future and just become a maid to clean for them. After that I left the room with no reaction and stopped talking to both of them. Now my mother refuses to even look my way, address me while talking or even apologize. I'm really upset because whenever I have any kind of emotion SGE demolishes it and claims it as her own, not to mention she even compares between how bad her life is compared mine. I'm tired. The jealousy I feel whenever I see a mother understanding her daughter or being nice to her is unbearable. I'm never disrespectful her and I stayed quiet because I'm trying to deal with my emotions like a grown-up without hurting anyone. Why are mothers cruel? Story 4. EK breaks a 500 Guhan threatens to deport employee if they charge her. Not my story, but I was a witness. This happened about 5 years ago and I'd completely forgotten about it until I went back to the scene a week or so ago. I live in a city in the UK that's in no shortage of entitled people. I have my own stories, including 1 or 2 I've posted before, but this one was on another level. Close to the high street and the malls is a shop that specifically sells acoustic musical instruments, mostly guitars, drums, and a lot of folk instruments like lutes and mandolins. They also sell really niche, hard-to-find instruments including second-hand ones, and depending on what they have in stock these instruments can be really niche. About 5 years ago during the summer, I had some time to kill in town before I met a friend down the road, so I went into this shop just to browse. I have zero musical ability but I'd always wanted to check this place out. In the back of the shop I saw an instrument that I now know to be a Chinese guhan, a flat-laying string instrument with about 20 plus strings. This one in particular was over 5 feet long, and even though it had some metal parts and some pearly-looking decorative insets, the bulk of the body was a polished dark wood. It was beautiful to look at. And even though the shop has a policy where people can play any of the instruments as long as they're careful, I couldn't bring myself to touch it, especially when I saw it was priced at over 500, even marked second hand. Of course there were other fascinating instruments and other things in the shop, but the guhan is the star of this particular story. After about 10 minutes browsing the shop, listening to people picking up instruments and jamming with the super chill owner, CO, I get ready to leave. But before I do, in comes M and her little hellspawn, EK, who looks to be about 6 years old. EK immediately starts running around the shop poking at various display instruments while M just hangs out by the door on her phone. Obviously EK was the one that wanted to be here, and M couldn't give 2 shits. CO immediately stiffens and watches the kid as he runs around this really densely packed shop, trying to grab anything he can reach, giggling and shrieking with unchecked energy. Still stays within a few meters of the door, on her phone. Now remember when I said the gahan is a flat-laying instrument? It's usually played on a table or a mount, and this one was rested on two sets of legs that held it pretty low to the flow rate 6-year-old height. EK sees it and barges over, starting to pick at the strings wildly. It's awful to listen to. And even though he's been patient so far, this is where CO steps in. CO, miss, your son is… he's just playing. Just leave him alone. He'll get bored in a minute. CO, but that instrument is really expensive. We have some children's guitars over there that he might like to. EK, mummy. I want the big guitar. No, EK, you don't even know how to play it. Now come on or we'll be late. EK, but mummy I wa on 30 it. This is where it all goes south. EK grabs the gahan and tries to take it off the legs. But this thing is taller than some full-grown adults, and it is a chunky beast. I guess this kid had enough freaky 6-year-old strength to lift it off one of the two legs before he let go of it completely. The gahan crashes onto the floor, and the sound it makes is awful. It's completely split down the middle of its length and at least one of the strings has split. It was probably quite old so it might have been more fragile than it should have been, but even so it's trashed, completely ruined. EK just starts freaking out. He's screaming, crying, and he runs straight back to CO, oh, God. Are you okay? Is he okay? Of course he's not okay. That piece of rubbish could have crushed his feet. His feet were fine. He literally just sprinted across the shop back to clearly in no pain at all. EK, I wanna go home, mummy. Take me home. Come on, EK. If he's hurt himself in any way, I'll sue you for everything you've got. CO, hang on. That gahan is completely wrecked. So what? It's just a weird guitar. If it was worth that much you should have had it insured. CO, it's not a guitar. It's a Chinese gahan and it was second-hand. It was still worth over 500. 500 pounds for a chunk of wood. You're joking. It sounded awful. If you think I'm paying for some used, overpriced Chinese rubbish you've got another thing coming. It's at this point that I notice one CO's employees, CE, has come down from upstairs to see what's going on. Fun fact, the city I live in houses students from 5 different universities including 2 within a mile of each other, and these universities take in a lot of international students that are allowed to take part-time work in the city. CE is clearly student age just by looking at him. He also happened to be East Asian and just going by statistics of the city here, most likely Chinese. Also seems to notice CE standing there. She immediately pulls her phone out and points at CE with her other hand. She's going red in the face, moving herself closer to the door and pushing EK outside while she confronts the CO and CE. Was that thing yours, hey? You bring it with you from China? Fuck you, and fuck you if you think I owe you anything. My son's feet are probably broken and if I hear anything about this or see either of you again, I'll sue you, CO, for negligence and have you, CE, shipped right back where you came from. I've got you both on camera. I know who you are. With that, she charges out the door, grabs EK by the wrist and bolts down the street. CO and CE just look absolutely shattered. The other people in the shop, including me, offer to help clean up, ask if they're okay. After a few minutes, I had to leave them to it as I was already late to meet my friend. In the end I never followed up on the situation, but 5 years later CO is still running the shop so clearly nothing happened to them. I took my now partner in there a couple weeks ago, and they had not one but 2 absolutely beautiful gahans for sale. Story 5. Entitled Christian Mother Tells Me to Turn Off Pride Music. This is actually about my 35 FTM mother, 66F. Yesterday we were driving in my car to pick up my kid and a friend of hers after a school end-of-year event. Both kids in question are either 14 or 15 depending on kid. And the 14-year-old is my kid specifically. The 15-year-old is also FTM. It's Pride Month. I made a Pride-themed playlist called Got That Gay Panic. All the songs are either about being LGBTQ or written/performed by LGBTQ artists, if not both. The first song my mom objected to was saying "We're here, we're queer." She claimed they dropped the three-letter F word about gay people and how that was inappropriate. I told her that wasn't what the lyrics said and her response was, "Well, that's what I heard." I ignored her and kept playing the music and driving. Then the song "You Can't Pray the Gay Away" by Laura Bell Bundy came on. My mom is Christian, heavily so. There is nothing inappropriate in the song. Its lyrics are just about how preachers are wrong and you can't pray away gay. Not even any cuss words unless you count the word dicks. My mom told me to turn the music off after she heard that song. I told her no, I'm gonna listen to gay music during Pride Month in my own car. I've always suspected she was secretly still a homophobe but just doesn't say anything because she knows I'll get mad, and this kinda makes me suspect it even more. The next song after that was Randy McNally, "No Love Like Christian Hate," by TX2, which has both profanities and is anti-Christian. I could have been petty and let it play but I skipped it. Edit: the playlist contains "Eat Me" by Demi Lovato, featuring Royal and the Serpents. Montero by Lil Nas X. Born This Way by Lady Gaga. Daughter by Ryan Cressada. TR at NNY Got Pack by Athens Boys Choir. Everyone Is Gay by A Great Big World. Little Game by Benny. I Wanna Be a Boy by Addison Grace. Gender Binary, Fuck You, by Ryan Cressada. Lktkia, A New Generation, by Matt Fischel. Coming Out by Jesse Paige. Everyone Is Just a Little Gay by Taryn Southern and Ross Everett. They Slash Them Slash Theirs by Warriors. Girl or Boy by Danny Shea. Pride, How Many More Have to Die, by Jake Edwards. AROM Antic by Mike Fonzarelli Roberts. You Can't Pray the Gay Away by Laura Bell Bundy. You Can't Tell Me, I'm Not a Man, by Jake Edwards. Dead Name by Flash. Randy McNally, No Love Like Christian Hate, by TX2. Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. Second Puberty by Jake Edwards. A Gay Disney Prince by Thomas Sanders and John Cozart. Chaotic Gender Neutral by Murder Person for Hire. Story 6. Vacation with a Narcissist Vegetarian Karen Boomer. Edit to add TLDR, which is friend visits vegetarian self-centered friend Kara who moved to a new city. Kara drags friend around town to cool places by walking 5 to 10 miles a day with no eating as part of the excursions. OP is 58, F, and not used to walking that much nor skipping meals. OP complains. Backstory. My mom passed away in 2005 and had a best friend Kara from high school until she died at 65. I became friends with Kara after mom died. We would go and walk on beaches and parks. Go to restaurants. So now in 2023, Kara moved to a fun new city and I am to visit for a week. Just me and her. She lives alone and her kids are adults. I have a family with hubby and adult children and it was nice to go myself. So day 1. We venture out to a famous market and walked around for 4 hours. We ate a tourist restaurant so things seem good. Kara invites me to her activities and a play her family is in. Day 2 we go a park beach with no food or activities for 4 to 6 hours. We ate at 2 to 3 p.m. at a diner. Day 3 or 4 we go a museum and a tall building to see the view. It's 5 p.m. when museum was done. Kara wanted to go back to the museum and see it again and back. Then watch the 5 movies and the gift store. It was 6:30 p.m. when she finished that. I got lightheaded, nauseous, and tired feet as we never ate lunch. I say I just need caffeine to calm my stomach and headache or go to eat please. She has no plans. We walk a mile to get to the bus. I finally found a McDonald's to get a coffee. I stopped clutching my stomach. I told her I feel sick. She said I should have mentioned that I needed a coffee earlier. We didn't have lunch or dinner. We finally ate at 8:30 p.m. I cried myself to sleep as I had more days. The next day I insisted no more 8 miles a day with no food plans. I started using Google Maps as and is leading us wrong or have us walk 2 miles for a bus when there is one in 5 blocks to connect with. The last day we went to a beautiful beach and walked to the map I used. She insisted the trail is not here but it has a sign. We go in the trail and it's wonderful. We then go to a restaurant I wanted to go and it was good Asian fusion food. We were at outside seating and the waiter took a while to give her water but I had her water bottle. Then she wanted soy sauce which is not common in the dishes but they got it for her. She starts telling me she is not going to tip. I am like what? We got 2 checks and since I knew she wasn't going to tip, I gave the tip to the guy in cash like a $20 while she is going the buttons 18%, custom tip, no tip etc. She said she is going to press no tip. I say go ahead. At the bus stop she did press 18%, like $5, on her receipt and was mad like they did it on purpose. I asked her if she heard of a Karen. They don't tip either. Then she said it's not my business to give the waiter the amount of tip she was not providing. Now since I gave the waiter for dealing with Kara a 40% tip and she gave a 18%. That waiter got the biggest tip ever for a $50 check. She also mentioned she doesn't celebrate birthdays, kids hated her for that. There was more. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.